AI is so prominent to the point where if you look anywhere in this market or even outside of this market, everyone, and I mean everyone, is talking about AI. Even people that are not included in finance, they're using AI, they're using chatbots, they're using things to help them with schoolwork, you name it. AI is only growing in popularity. Now, on top of that, we look at what AI can do when combined with blockchain or DLT, which is why I do have on the chart here, as you guys can see, it's T54.ai announcing that the X402 facilitator is now live on the XRP ledger. AI agents can now pay for services using both XRP and RLUSD. No API keys, no accounts, no friction. This is absolutely wild. Now, why exactly is this a big deal? Well, we're going to break it down. So let's dive on into exactly what this means. So right off the rip, we do have the X402 is the open standard for machine native payments. When an agent requests a resource, the server responds with HTTP 402 payment required, and the agent pays instantly. Our XRP Ledger Facilitator handles the verification and settlement on chain. The XRP Ledger offers fast finality, low fees, and native support for both XRP and RLUSD, ideal infrastructure for high-frequency agent transactions. This is real utility flowing through the ledger, already in production with BlockRun AI. BlockRun provides AI agents access to 30-plus models, GPT, Claude, Grok, etc., through a unified gateway. Agents pay per request via X402, and that volume is now settling on the XRP ledger. This is awesome to see. I think that it's great. However, I think that it's way bigger than what we are seeing here. Again, whenever I think about AI, whenever I think about, payments done with AI agents, I look at automation. I look at the next phase, which is pretty much every single financial transaction being automated through AI with, of course, the underlying rails being DLT and blockchain based. I think that this is the reality of where we're headed, and I think that this is going to be way bigger than what we assume. Now, to build on top of this, if you guys don't know about T54.ai, this is a company that is partnered up with Evernorth, the largest public XRP treasury company. And their announcement here was, as we scale the world's largest institutional XRP treasury, we are excited to collaborate with T54AI to explore AI-based agentic finance, verification, and more within the XRP ledger. Now, if you open this up and you actually read about this, because I did it back in January, I gave you guys an update regarding this, we look at what exactly this partnership means for the future of XRP. And the main thing is autonomous operations. AI-powered agents are increasingly positioned to assist these operations, executing strategies, managing liquidity positions, and responding to market conditions in real time. For institutional treasuries, this isn't a future possibility. It's becoming operational reality. As Evernorth looks to embrace AI-powered operations, the right infrastructure becomes essential. How do you verify agent actions before settlement? How do you assess risk in real time? How do you maintain compliance and auditability across autonomous workflows? And that's where the collaboration comes into play, because again, you have that mix of what T54 is doing with agentic finance, along with the XRP Ledger infrastructure, which is bringing verification, risk assessment, and compliance to AI-powered treasury management. This is incredible to see. I think that this is going to unlock a lot regarding autonomous features. They even say here that this is going to unlock autonomous treasury operations and the anticipated benefits of agentic finance infrastructure. So I think that this is going to be a very big deal. And I think this is going to lead to something even bigger. And what exactly is that? Well, let's first start off with, of course, Bob Way, who is a previous Ripple dev. We have here from vet_x0. We are getting there, Bob Way. X402 is an open payment protocol. For plain HTTP, it uses the HTTP 402 payments required status for automatic payments request. Allows AI agents to use this to pay for services via XRP and RLUSD. Now, this goes all the way back to 2023, and we have here the primary question then becomes, how can a virtual thing creator monetize the virtual thing he creates? This is exactly the question we had when Web 1.0 started, specifically a 402 payment required error message, but no web standard for how to pay until now. We are getting there. This is a very big deal. But let's go back to that video that I posted back in January, because I said here AI needs new currency system tied to it, and the rails are being built right now. Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire recently touched on something massive that the market is still sleeping on, i.e. the next generation of blockchains isn't being designed for humans. It's being built for AI agents executing economic activity nonstop in an automated 24/7, 365 system. We are talking billions of autonomous agents paying each other, settling value, coordinating work 24/7 in real time. That kind of work or that kind of world doesn't work with banking hours, batch settlement, or legacy payment rails. It requires always-on programmable liquidity. That's where stablecoins and networks built for real settlement come in. This is exactly why Ripple and XRP matter, infrastructure that can move value instantly at scale. And with the finality, that finality isn't a nice to have anymore feature. It's a must. It's the foundation for machine-to-machine economies. I would also focus on, and I do mention a ton of altcoins in this market, stablecoins aren't just a payments upgrade. They are becoming the financial operating system for AI. Most people aren't prepared for what's coming, and people in crypto still don't realize how big this will be. Check this out.
How stablecoin, what role stablecoin can play there, and how AI will affect stablecoin?
Sure, I'd start with maybe some basic, which is when we got started working on this almost 13 years ago, the idea that got us very excited was that first that you could have kind of money as like a native data type on the internet, so you could have digital dollars just like you have digital music or communications, like kind of basic building blocks, and that it would be programmable. And the programmability idea was through the advent or the proposal of the idea of smart contracts. And 12 years ago, 13 years ago, that wasn't a thing. Now we have very mature computing networks, these blockchain networks that are able to execute code. And what's powerful about it is that these smart contracts are they're publicly verifiable. So that's really important when you're dealing with transactions amongst unknown counterparties, or, for example, when you're dealing with transactions between an AI agent and another AI agent. And so we now have kind of the computing material to provide a kind of assured, verifiable, cryptographically verifiable way to conduct transactions. And so that's powerful in a whole bunch of things. It's powerful for bringing more financial market infrastructure online and innovations in the way financial services get built and delivered and rendered. But it's particularly important in this growing world of agentic economic activity. And so right now what we're seeing is this proliferation in new technology standards for basically payment protocols for AI agents and payment protocols for AI agents that primarily use stablecoins as the actual medium of exchange. If you think about AI agents that are making these high velocity transactions at very low cost to do work or consume data, et cetera.
So yeah, I mean, listen, when we think about what's happening here, yes, this is exactly the next phase. It's full on automation. I don't think that crypto was ever created for retail to touch this. I don't think that they realize, where we're headed. Like if we think about crypto, yeah, it would be automated payments settling on digital ledgers. Nobody will understand that technology because they're not going to see it. They're not going to realize that they're using it. It's just like the internet. And I've said this many times over. But it's also why Circle, back in October, introduced a new integration allowing AI agents to autonomously pay for online services using USDC. This goes back to September of 2025. This is the same exact thing that just got announced on the XRP ledger. Which leads me to the next big announcement here, which is exactly where are we headed? Well, the World Economic Forum recently put out an article back in January. In fact, it was January 12th, and it was how the power of AI can revolutionize the financial markets. Now, the main thing that we're looking at here is, how AI will fundamentally reshape all aspects of business and financial markets as companies use the technology to pilot intelligent, intuitive, and also flawless solutions. Now, what they're not really telling us is that AI is going to pretty much automate everything that can be automated. Like if it can actually work in an automated workflow, that it's going to happen. Which is why when we think about finance, every single trade, everything, every single transaction, we don't need someone on the other, end of that transaction. If an AI agent can look at the transaction details, confirm it, and make sure that that's, transaction settles on chain, that's it. That's all you need. And that's where we're headed. 24/7, 365 markets, always on, digital, automated. That's why when we go over here to November 26th, this is from Ion Group, faster, cheaper, safer, and more scalable, how automation is streamlining FX trading processes. Again, when we think about the FX market, it's still a very, very inefficient market. It's plagued by all of the, concerns and inefficiencies, of the traditional base system. Yeah, sure, there's some technologies being tapped in, but the main thing and the goal about FX is on-chain FX. And that's happening now. We know that that's happening now because of what we recently got from Ripple announced, which is, of course, the XRP Ledger DEX, the permission domains. This is where we start to see the big picture. Now we have here good to see coverage of this update. For context, the XRP Ledger DEX remains open. The permission DEX introduces optional participant gating for use cases that require compliance controls so regulated institutions can meet requirements while using shared on-chain liquidity. Both can operate in parallel and also on the network. Now, to build on top of this, this was the post that they quoted. And we have here that the XRP Ledger just flipped the switch on a members-only DEX. It's not a members-only DEX, but this permission DEX unlocks so much potential. The key thing that this really unlocks is it allows banks, institutional players, brokers, regulated firms, all of them to move on chain, tap into on-chain settlement, tap into DeFi, pretty much you name it. Anything that you want to do on chain, it allows them to do that. Which is why when we look at the full breakdown, this is that permission stack. This is where we see that trusted decentralized FX for institutional players, the on-chain FX market. That's where we see this all headed towards. An on-chain 24/7, 365, always on digital automated system. And now we have the AI tool built into this. And I suspect that this is only going to expand. It's only going to expand to have automated internal workflows and processes now fully automated and tapped in. And this is where you see that full big picture. Because again, this is exactly where everything is headed. You don't need, like if we're thinking about stocks, right? Like if the stock market is moving on chain, okay, who's going to settle that transaction at 2:43 in the morning when, nobody's there in the office? But how is that transaction going to settle? An AI agent. It's going to automate it. And the best part is that, again, it needs to be on a network that is always on, aka blockchain. So many people are missing the big picture here. No, 90+% of the population won't realize that they're using crypto. They'll just see that it's automated, it's happening, it's easy, it's quick, it's extremely affordable, and you can track and trace it all on chain because you got that, transaction ID. But they won't see the underlying tech. They won't even understand it. This is the future. And guess what? This future is not being created for retail. It's not. The tools are being built here. The next phase here is to allow for automation to thrive. And the only way that that happens is if we build this next phase around AI agents. It's being built for AI agents to execute all of this activity. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.